Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the ESL 1 Frankfurt Southeast Asia Qualifier. We have Fnatic facing up against Execration in one of our two qualifier matches for the day. On the other side, we are going to have an MVP Phoenix match. I believe they're versus Signature Trust. So, two pretty interesting matches today. And following up, then we have the semifinals and finals. They're all going to be back-to-back. The starting 11 CEST every day.
Fnatic's
wrap up on Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. So hopefully you guys will all tune in for that. But our first game, Fnatic versus Execration. We already have draft, and I'm going to be joined by Heen.
Radiant team.
Heen, what's up, man? Casting a lot of Dota lately.
Yeah, a lot of European games as well, but it's kind of ironic. For the C games, I had to kind of wake up early because I was used to the European time zone.
10 seconds remaining.
So it's 6 p.m. right now, but it really feels like morning. I don't know what's going on with my sleep schedule, but yeah, Fnatic, I think it's been a big issue lately, but these guys have been on such a crazy winning streak that it recently got broken by Signature Trust. Clean 2-0. I didn't get to watch them. Still, since then though, they've been at it again. They're like, okay, I broke our streak, let's start again. Maybe we'll get a longer streak. So they've been basically dominating the C scene right now, and we have to see if Execration,
turn to ban.
I think most people would definitely say Fnatic are the favorite here, and if Execration managed to knock out Fnatic, that would be a huge upset and really fun to see.
10 seconds remaining.
Especially given the way that Southeast Asia, it seems like there has only really been two contenders out of the C region for these like major these major LAN events from C, and that's Fnatic and MVP Phoenix. MVP Phoenix, who usually just show up at LAN, oftentimes not performing the same way that they do on online qualifiers, and then Fnatic, of course, just being the strongest team in the region kind of consistently. But we are seeing some of the rise of some of these other Southeast Asian teams. My bet right now, I've got TNC. I feel like they're a really strong team, and I feel like they're one of the teams that's most likely to be able to upset these kind of top two. But of course, Execration is definitely not a team that you want to snark on, that's for sure. They've actually been doing not too bad for themselves. In this specific matchup, they may be the underdogs, but they've already beat a pretty good team in the past. I believe they were
5 seconds remaining.
They recently take on that they lost to TNC twice in a row, which was, but I remember watching a game not so long ago where I was like, oh, Execution, oh, they beat Mineski. I think that's what it was. Like, oh, okay, so they beat them in a best of one.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
I mean, losing to TNC is not really something to be embarrassed about. Basically, if I had to choose 3 teams in SEA that were tier 1, including the 2 you mentioned, it would probably be TNC third. They're just a really fun team to watch.
Radiant team pick.
I mean, going back to the draft though, I mean, it's kind of funny that like Execration, they have the Vengeful, but I think Fnatic were kind of expecting that to happen. They basically picked the Batrider before the Vengeful, right? So they're like, we don't really care too much of the Vengeful, and then when I get one of their signature Spectre picks, they really love Spectre, and
5 seconds
they basically haven't lost in such a long time. I rarely see them badly with Spectre. Maybe that one game against MVP where they were 2 racks down and they managed to come back from it.
Their lineup's looking pretty pick up. Like, they've got a lot of single target between the Batrider picking somebody off, the Enchantress's strong amount of damage. They're also looking okay when it comes to the laning phase. I think the solo lanes with Batrider are particularly threatening. I'm not sure if that's what they're actually going to do here with this Enchantress, if they're going to be running more in the offlane, or if it's going to be more protecting the Spectre and roaming onto the the mid lane, but either way, the Enchantress is kind of one of those better heroes to secure your laning phase. Execration, meanwhile, they look like they're a team that once they get their like basic items by 20-25 minutes on Sven and Darkseer, and then the Invoker just has levels and a Midas, they're looking like a really good team fight squad that is going to be able to take 5-man's comp.
Yeah. And so far, one of the things that's going well for Execration in terms of game plan is that Darkseer is going to possibly have a really fast mech timing if the Enchantress doesn't focus too much on the Spectre lane. So like Spectre, Witchstalker shouldn't be too much of a threat for Darkseer to just farm freely. Then we haven't seen any barriers for Fnatic, and you mentioned that 20-minute timing where Sven's going to peak and no mech versus mech. I think Execration have a good chance of at least holding a dominating position in mid-game.
Fifth pickup here, what are you looking for to kind of round out this lineup? They're not going to be able to get the global strategy as the Zeus is banned away from Execration. There's not too many mids left. There's some of our more early game nuker focus like Puck and Lina. I don't think any of our more semi-carry mids are left full. Most of them end away.
I think Fnatic, if they're gonna go for a mid hero, they want something that is elusive against the Sven, like the Puck or the Wind Ranger. There aren't many heroes that can just straight out tank Sven's burst potential, so you have to, just deflect it somehow.
You have you seen mid one play Batrider at all? I was just curious. I don't think that's what they're going for, but I was just curious if that was ever a strategy that Fnatic could employ. Because I've seen many other teams, they like running Batrider specifically against Invoker. It feels like one of those matchups they can.
Radiant team pick.
Yeah, as it's going to be a plug mid.
Yeah, I was going to answer that. I've seen mid-one play Earth Spirit, which he publicly said was not something that he practiced. So I was like, if he can play Earth Spirit, which he wasn't comfortable on, he could definitely play Batrider. They're gonna go for one of the more niche Fnatic signature heroes here, the Pugna mid. I'm not sure how it goes against Invoker, but this team, Fnatic, they put a lot of faith into mid-one. It's like, the laning phase is not too important. He's just a great player all around, and even if Pugna has an early game around, they're gonna come to a point where they're gonna play as a team and try to cover the Pugna.
This does kind of make it a bit scarier for Execration to do that 5-manning that we were talking about, how their team fight should kind of be superior. I like the Bounty Hunter though. I think the Bounty Hunter can definitely abuse the Pug fight a lot. I feel like this is also a hero that will be able to take advantage of the team fight strength of Execration and kind of get that ball rolling. I mean, it's going to be an Exort Invoker, so you have that global power already. So the Bounty Hunter may even be able to solo set up some kills on supports thanks to the extra damage from Strike.
I think the lanes are looking super good for Execration right now. Maybe the only concern would be the bottom lane. Sven and Vengeful, it's like one semi-range hero against a Batrider who's gonna be so annoying for the Sven. And if Ohio managed to waste the mana on the Sven and Vengeful, then he can pretty much have an easy as a lane that the Darkseer at top could potentially have. However, we have to count Invoker. Sunstrike followed by 2 stuns is going to make it so that there's just going to be so much more burst than Ohio would expect for his own lane outside sources.
So what do you do as a Bounty Hunter in this play, right? You're looking to disrupt the Enchantress as much as possible. Is your first play to block off that offlane camp to make sure that DJ doesn't get that early creep? Or do you like what R is doing right now and trying to be more disruptive in the mid and top lane?
Yeah, I think it looks like he wants to block this mid camp near the Dire base because that's kind of like, if you get a creep from there, you can either go top or mid, whereas the Secret Shop camp is more just specialized for going to the off lane. He got the sentry.
Yeah.
But one kind of slow on the fingers there.
Still, if he's going to be putting so much focus on the Pugna, this will allow DJ to be able to get that early offlane camp, but he is going to rotate back into his own jungle, trying to grab another creep. He's just going to throw that Wild Wing Ripper to the bottom lane to help out the Bat Rider, and I guess it's not necessary, right? Their dual lane shouldn't really be strong enough to beat Ohio, given the fact that they do have such little range. You just give him one extra creep, and he's going to be good, essentially, for the bottom lane.
Yeah. I mean, just look at what happened. Oh, mid one? Oh, that is so annoying.
He does have the fallback of Decrepify every single time. Be able to deal with Cold Snap. So that's actually going to help out quite a lot.
Yeah, what happened in bottom was that Ohio he started Ring of Protection and just tanked both the stuns from Vengeance Men. And I mean, Nando does have 2 mangoes right now, but you don't really want to use a mango unless it's going to ensure you a kill. For top, it looks like Bounty Hunter's been spotted out.
Gonna be able to get the cast on him, get some damage. Golem Shard follows up, or will be able to get out. Thanks in part to Surge from the Darks here. His rotation kind of being scouted here. He doesn't have any more counter wards to take those out, so kind of feels like his laning phase at top is kind of over. He's probably just gonna have to focus on trying to shut out the mid lane, maybe following the Enchantresses around, just kind of depending on what opportunity present themselves.
DJ getting that Invis rune, he's kind of like being a bounty hunter right now. Go for Abed, but I don't think it's going to lead too much. Just a friendly harass here.
I love this timing from DJ too. He actually timed it perfectly for the golems to actually split apart as he ganks, meaning he gets not 1 stun but 3, and that is enough for Midwan to be able to claim that first blood against the Invoker. What an excellent gank there from DJ.
Bottom, they're going to go on Ohio only if Invoker was alive.
Oh, Ohio sneaking himself away. Does manage to get a decent amount of healing out, and will run back through Kimmo to get some more damage out. They do have the Mango, though, from Nando. You brought that up earlier, and they will have enough damage to finish him off, just barely without dying. Both Nando and Kimmo surviving on less than 50 HP.
Yeah, but you can't feel too great about this. Just look at all these creeps that Sven has to... He basically has no regen anymore. He has like a Mango. And he has the last hit on the tower against 9 creeps.
See if
those golems from DJ, holy crap! Sometimes I forget just how much damage 3 stuns do from golems.
Yeah, that's what, 375 damage, right? I think it's 125 per rock.
Per rock, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to find a golem now to double check that, but I think it's a pretty high amount of damage.
It really is. And
Nando will be able to kill Ohio again. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Bounty Hunter actually gets scouted out there by Fnatic. They pop the dust and manage to catch him. It cost them the Dire Courier, though, so I kind of want to say it's worth it for Bounty Hunter to suicide on Couriers. I don't know, the amount of gold that you get is it feels like a worthy trade oftentimes.
Yeah, I think so too. And Nando kind of
not expecting a rotation like that, I guess, but kind of should be red given the fact that they ganked the Bounty Hunter and started heading for the bottom room.
Yeah, there were so many clues. A Bounty Hunter dying there in that spot, followed by like it was so close to the 4-minute rune, and he just looks so tasty right now. So defenseless.
Mid one, he's pretty far forward here. He's getting some good blasts on this tower thanks to the Arcane rune. Very low cooldown, but he is going to be slowed down by the Bounty Hunter long enough for Kingo to get the stun. Follow up Nando, 2-man stun there. They easily get that kill, plus the Sunstrike gets damage onto Ohio, but looks like RR is going to die underneath the flames. Ohio's easily able to run him down. Nando as well as Kimmo can't really do anything to help him. Firefly out.
Yeah, he definitely was a bit far out, but you didn't expect the Bounty Hunter, obviously, from the way he was playing. And it was an unexpected rotation. There's so much damage done to safe lane already at the 5-minute mark.
Back to our lane.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about net, but looks like there might be some action at mid.
Yeah, DJ's gonna come in, double centaurs, stunning him up, plus the cats. Meanwhile, Pugna, draining his life away, will be able to help get the kill on the Invoker and also pressure this tower. So,
Radiant's middle tower
looking good there. But what about Ned? He's doing well for himself in CS, and he does have his level 6, so he can join in on the next gank that Fnatic X.
He has so much gold saved up. I wonder if he's not gonna go for the standard build. This game, TJ and mid one. Oh, Abed, are you?
Is he dead again? He might just be. He doesn't have anything to be able to get out of this situation. He just TP's in right into almost death, and there goes the Spectre ultimate. We'll be able to help get that kill, and Batrider does get the Vengeful Spirit at bottom lane at the exact same time, so net. Not sure, it didn't look like he was able to be a part of the mid kill, but I think he was able to jump to bottom, be a part of that and jump back. RR is barely, no, he's not going to make it out. Couldn't get through the trees. Block division of DJ. Able to get another good snipe out there with the dust. 3 to 10, Execration just falling apart now as Fnatic really pushing up the tempo of this game.
Just way too rough right now. I feel they had good lanes, but the rotations from Fnatic were more spot on. Rather, like, I don't see too much rotations from Execration so far, other than the Bounty Hunter. But that's, you can't really call it rotation. It's just the nature of the hero. And at this point, I'm afraid to say this. Like, what's Execration? How are they gonna make a comeback into the game right now? Because this Sven is not having a clean game. You ideally don't want any deaths until the 15-minute mark. You just want to get your Helm Dom, get that early farm potential roaming starting. And Abed, oh man, we haven't really, we saw him die, but he has a glove of face and he's so far away from the Midas. And his tower's been taken as well. Which means, like, mid one, he can just start rotating to other towers, and Invoker doesn't feel too comfortable fighting it. He's only level 6, he shouldn't feel too comfortable fighting. And, like, all these heroes on Execration, Darkseer, he doesn't have anything. Neither does the Sven, so basically everyone is not ready to fight on Execration, but Fnatic are going to press the issue, and someone has to sacrifice in terms of, like, the time.
Fnatic keep on going, knowing that, as you said, Execration really don't have the heroes to stop these kind of pushes. Feels like Bounty Hunter is definitely going to show that. I don't think this was the last pick. You know, at first I was like, okay, you can harass the lanes. You're talking about building up the bounty gold, but seeing this push strat from Fnatic, you're really seeing them just abuse this Bounty Hunter pick so heavily. While they do trade towers, it's still a tier 2 for a tier 1, and Fnatic are going to keep on going, forcing somebody, or more like a majority of Execration, to come back to their base and defend, opening the map even for Fnatic.
Yeah, something you definitely don't expect against a Spectre lineup to get high grounded at 9 minutes.
Imo almost going to die here just purely from 2 impediment shots and a flame break. They're going to run down Tims instead. They will be able to get that kill. Spectre ultimate bouncing around a little bit. Will be able to bring this tower. It's already down below half HP. Mid one is actually running out of mana soon. So Fnatic, not because Execration have pushed them away, but solely because they're running out of mana, they're probably going to have to back out now.
Should, but
there they go.
I mean, like, come on, guys. You guys got a tier 3 at 9 minutes. That's good enough.
Yeah, there's no need to get too greedy.
I mean, they're like overachievers, right? They're like need racks pre 10 minutes.
They have so many items coming in too. They've got the mech now completed from mid one. Blink Dagger is going to be up rather shortly here. Spectre probably just completing drums next.
Felt like there was so much action that I was gonna say Batrider's blink timing is like standard, but it's actually only 10 minutes in. In Execration, I think this is an extension of the problem that I pointed out earlier, is that basically they don't want to do anything right now. They're just focused on being stronger individually so that they could possibly make some kind of glorious team fight happen later. But the problem is Fnatic they're the ones in position to decide whether Execration are allowed to do that, and I definitely don't think Fnatic are going to be so generous as to give them time that they want.
Fnatic, 3-man smoke up, gonna run their way behind the tier 1 tower while mid 1 pushes out the lane. Because he's got the mech, they feel pretty free to just let him solo push. The smoke is gonna pop, they pop the dust, and they are gonna reveal RR. Thanks to help to the Spectre ultimate, they're gonna be able to see that kill, plus grab Tims from Ohio. He's gonna try and go for a vacuum surge play out, but he doesn't have the time. Fnatic executing the gank perfectly, get an extra kill, and will now be able to take tier 1 and probably tier 2. Execration not gonna be ready to fight yet. They'll lose all of their outer towers here.
Unfortunately, Sven is not in the position to be doing something efficient right now. I mean, one thing we have to talk about is this Pugna's pushing speed. One of the reasons that Pugna is not so popular is like you see a Pugna trying to push down your towers, and earlier we saw the bounty on her hit Pugna at the tier 1 and punish the Pugna for it with a Sven. At this point where he's being escorted by his team, oh wow, a nice kill.
Finally, Execration needed. They're going to need a lot more pickoffs just like that, actually.
They haven't made too much use of the Sunstrike either this game, which is unfortunate. I mean,
that's really
the game Abed had though.
Only thing he can do when he's so underleveled. That's kind of what the Exort Invoker is. Oh, Sven goes down to the top lane. Exort Invoker is like very laning phase focused and farm heavy, and the only global power he usually brings to any some of these early pushes is going to be that Sunstrike. It's not until you get those later levels, 14, 15, 16, and you start looking towards that Ags, then Invoker becomes more of a viable full team fight force, other than just.
Yeah. I mean, Invoker, he had a 0-3 start. He died a lot of times in the really early game, but he's gonna slowly come back from this. Like, if this game were to go on for another 20 minutes, he's gonna have like his Aghanims, possibly drums and all that jazz. But for the Sven though, I'm not sure if Sven is going to be able to use this like ancient side of his map. The Ancients area and Secret Shop neutral camp. This is such an easy area for Batrider to control that I fear that the Sven is not going to be able to scale as well as Spectre, which, I mean, that's part like how you win the game. For Execration at the beginning, they must have been thinking that our Sven has to have like 0.5 times the net worth of the Spectre for this game to be like easy. Even.
Pick off on Abed, tries to go for the TP out, but not even worth the gold. It's just too easy for Fnatic to get that kill. Meanwhile, they're also doing Roshan. Yes, they're getting up the tier 1 tower at top lane, that's fine. It's a safe lane tower, you don't really care too much about it. If you're dire side Fnatic at this point, you don't really need to control your jungle because you're most of the time going to be pushing aggressively and taking the Radiant side jungle away, and also trying to get back Roshan. If the game even goes that long, because Fnatic, they should be able to end this game with this round of Aegis.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Why I don't think Vengeful is like the end-all counter to Batrider, as Fnatic are kind of showcasing.
What's that?
It's like when the game goes sour, Vengeful can't be at multiple places at once, and generally one of the ways you want to come back is to farm up, or then you have to fight into a Batrider, but that means you have to run around the map not knowing when you're going to get lassoed and Spectre Haunted. I think Spectre Haunt is so good Batrider in terms of like giving Batrider intel on the Vengeful.
Bouncing around Execration, trying to go for the fucking ward. Kimmo's gonna be pulled back in. They have the Stormbolt that goes out. Kimmo's still gonna be dying here. A little bit more damage to the Enchantress will seal the deal. Now the Kaz bouncing around, controlling Nando underneath that Death Ward. He's got a lot of armor, but it just doesn't make a damn difference. When all of Fnatic start beating on him towards the end there, they will be able to take this lane of Rax, and they'll probably, given the amount of sustain that they have, not really worried so much.
Oh my God.
He just two-shot the Bounty Hunter. All right. Well, Fnatic, again, the sustain that they have lets them just go straight to mid. They'll take this tier 2 tower next.
DJ makes plays where I'm not sure, like, if he's reaching for it, but by like DJ standard, it's like he expected it to work like that earlier. Gank onto the Invoker with his lone golem that split into two and just did so much damage. I like how also Net didn't even bother on the
yeah. I was looking at that, I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 members of Fnatic. Wait a minute, where's Net? Oh, he's still in top lane. He didn't even pop the ultimate during that fight because he knew it wasn't necessary. He's just keeping in the top lane push. That way they can take that tier 2 after they take the tier 2 at mid. Force staff for Ohio. They've got another 2,500 gold on mid one. That almost has his Manta. And we're going to have an Axe in not too long for DJ.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a scenario where Execration can at least make a somewhat of a comeback and be viable to, like, it's actually viable for Execration to win this game. They have track, which is a good start, right? They have track, so some crazy dives from Fnatic result in massive gold swings. However, their heroes are not the best at doing non-committal damage. Like the Sven doesn't want to be here defending. There is potential to. I mean, the Vengeful is going to be here, but he's not going to feel too comfortable yet without the BKB.
Net still pushing out the whatever lane the rest of his team is in. He's always in a different lane. This time he's going to pop that ultimate as they start going in with the Bad Rider. Kimmo is going to be the first one down already. Always making sure to take away that swap. The back in defends Nando a little bit. He goes back in for the fight and just gets blown up immediately. The double damage on the Spectre proves to be too much. RR can't even make it out because, again, Jay gets them with that dust. They'll take the second lane of Rax and force Execration to call an 18.5-minute GG.
Yeah, just a clean game from Fnatic. You know, the last time we talked about Fnatic, when they just got back from the majors, you and I both agreed that Fnatic were good, but not sure that we weren't quite convinced. But ever since they got back from majors and then dominating the SAA region, these guys are legit. Like their games on the C region are, of course, their opponents are a bit less experienced than what they would be facing in the major tier tournaments. However, like their execution is just so clean, and I really want to see them play against the other teams of other tier 1 teams.
Alright guys, we are going to take a short break. We'll be back with game number 2 of Execration versus Fnatic.